Guitarist, singer, composer, hitmaker, Bonnie Guitar has had a stellar career. Born in Seattle in 1923 as Bonnie Buckingham, she was drawn to the old family guitar.
I was always wanted to play guitar, but never could touch it because it was for the boys. So when they were gone, once in a while I'd take it out, and I practiced all the time. So when I was quite young, like we lived in the country, so I used to climb trees and pretend I was broadcasting. Because I was just so taken by the radio things that came on the Victrola that I used to start learning guitar, and I was interested in that.
When Bonnie was 17 years old, she was allowed to go on the road as a singer-guitarist with a group that toured small towns throughout the western United States. Later, back in Seattle, Bonnie sang and played guitar on a demonstration record. A Hollywood music executive heard Bonnie's music and liked what he heard.
So he asked me to come down. My mother and I went down, and he signed me to a contract right at that time. We worked in that studio constantly on songs. He had me making demonstration records on all his material, and I was great because he was recording other people, and I was a guitar player. So I was having a great time doing exactly what I wanted to do.
Bonnie changed her professional name to Bonnie Guitar. Her boss had a song that he thought might be good for Bonnie. He asked her if she might be interested in a song called Dark Moon.
Dark moon, away up high up in the sky, oh tell me why you've lost your splendor.
When he played Dark Moon for me, I said it wasn't a very smart thing, but I was very wise in those days about things, so I said to him, if I can record that song, I'll give up all my royalties. That's how I felt about that song. I just knew that song would be something to satisfy me. Made it to number 2. It didn't go to 1 because of Elvis with Don't Be Cruel. And so I stayed at number 2, but that was great. Number 2 was pretty nice.
With Dark Moon on the charts, Bonnie was in demand, even making it onto the Ed Sullivan Show.
I can't tell you the excitement of the Ed Sullivan Show. That's the most fun you could ever have. He was great.
At that point, however, the powers of the music business decided to give the song Dark Moon to a more well-known star, Gail Storm. Bonnie's version of the song shrank in stature.
And I learned the business overnight, right there. I learned that everything wasn't what it seemed to be, you know. It was good for me, though, and I'm glad I learned it that way.
French boutique, things unique, buying sprees, and honey on the moon.
Bonnie stuck it out in the music business, releasing several of her own singles and albums between the years of 1957 and 1992. And she didn't just play other people's songs, she also released some of her own compositions.
Honey on the moon.
Bonnie was at home, on stage, and in recording studios. That experience allowed her to get more into the business end of the recording industry.
You know, I had such a great time, and I got to work with different engineers. I was acting vice president at DOT Records for a long time, and I worked right along with different gentlemen that were just great to work with. I never once felt that I was discriminated against.
And always Scottish moors, castle doors, British boys, and honey on the moon.
As the years passed, Bonnie returned to the Northwest, eventually working at a club in Soap Lake, Washington.
And I worked a couple times, and she said, why don't you come back and work steady for me? Well, that sounded good to me. I was getting ready for something like that, so I took the job. There's 17 years. I stayed in that. I had the best time of my life there. It was just fabulous. By the time that I decided not to work anymore, it was I was getting too old to travel, so I decided I'll just stay in Salt Lake, and that's where I am now.
La 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 la, and honey on the moon. La 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 la, la 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 la, la la la, and honey on the moon.
If you have an idea for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.